What are the Medicaid planning opportunities for the wealthy? Should we put a Medicaid asset protection trust into play?
What I always tell people when it comes to whether an asset protection trust for Medicaid makes sense is it just depends on the person's goals. I've helped clients who have less than $1 million do an asset protection trust to protect what they have against long-term care costs. I have people that have multiple millions of dollars that have done this kind of trust. I try not to anchor to like what value of an estate this makes sense. What I go to is there's the three different ways to pay for long-term care. Now, we need to talk about if you're okay with self-funding and private pay, then this becomes a relatively non-issue, right? But if people are like, well, I'm interested, tell me more what options are out there, really what ends up happening with an asset protection trust for Medicaid, it's an irrevocable, not revocable, irrevocable trust that assets go into. Every state has what's called a look back period. Most states are 5 years if that thing is set up 5 years in advance and assets are in it 5 years in advance of any kind of Medicaid need. Then if you go into a long-term care community, then Medicaid is footing the bill, not you private paying. So I know that was a little bit of a long-winded answer in terms of like what kind of makes sense from like an estate value standpoint, but to me it doesn't matter the value of the estate. It matters whether you care about self-funding and private paying or not, because I have clients that fall on both sides. And I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on there are some people that feel that this kind of strategy of using an asset protection trust to protect assets against Medicaid long-term care is, quote, unethical or, quote, immoral. What I always tell people is they are perfectly legal, allowable options on the table. And so that's why I really hesitate giving like a number, because I have clients that fall all over the board. And from there, it just really depends on whether they care about possibly in the future, if long-term care becomes an issue, whether you spend a lot of your money on long-term care. That's the big, big thing is that.